I'm Jennifer Antkowiak. On satisfaction, you've probably been disappointed with something you've invested in at some point or another in your life. So how do you get what's coming to you? Well, Audrey Gusky, a marketing professor at Duquesne University, is here with some advice. But you're not a whiner or a complainer yourself.
Well, I have been known to complain a bit, and I think that's why I tend to be an expert at this.
Is that right?
Unfortunately, yes.
So but you know, if you're going to muster up the strength to do so, why waste your effort? So I'm happy that you're here to tell us what's really effective.
And you know what? Nobody likes a complainer, but companies do. They strongly encourage this because only 3 to 4% of the people actually write a letter and complain. And so it's like a gift to companies that allows them to know how to improve. I wrote a letter many years ago. It was a Howard Johnson's, and my family was eating a dinner. It was one of these all-you-can-eat seafood, and they weren't coming quick enough with the food, and we were starving. I was very, very angry. Wrote a letter, and believe it, and they gave us a free dinner. 2 weeks later, when we went back, there was a woman dressed like a sailor, and her only job was serving the clams and the shrimp. And so I thought, here's a company who really took advantage of a complaint letter and really beefed up their service and did extremely well.
That's a low percentage, though. You would think that a lot more people, because we all hear the complaints, but it doesn't matter if we're hearing it, does it?
That's exactly what happens. If people don't write the letters to the company, they complain to each other, and that word of mouth and that negative buzz marketing is horrible for marketers, and so they want you to do the best they can, and they want to know what your situation, your issues are with them.
So what is the most effective way? You mentioned the letter. That is at least in black and white, hardcore proof of a complaint. Is that the best way to go?
Right, that's typically the way to go, and I would say, a couple years ago I would have said definitely to send it through snail mail. Now email is probably your best route to do that because companies are really taking advantage of that. It's easier for customers to do it. It's very, very swift and very effective, and so I would say your best bet is to deal with through the emails.
And just feel free to do that probably under their contact us portion of their website a lot of times.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's different ways that you can find this information. So one of the ways is either on packages of a product or on websites. And so I think that's, you know, the first thing you really want to do is figure out where you're going to find the contact information.
And you have some tips that you brought us in a nice form regarding exactly how to complain. So let's go through those for everybody. We'll get them up here on the screen for you in just a second. There we go.
As I said, the first thing you really want to do is try to figure out how you're going to contact the person. Typically, it's on a website. They have a perfect contact information for customer service or on the package itself. You want to keep track of everything. If it's a product, you want to keep the box if you can. You want serial numbers if it's a restaurant or a place you're going to. You want to know the date. You want to know the name of the server if possible. You want to provide as much details of the service, the date, place, and time. Keep track of everything, document. And then, of course, tell the company what you want. They can't read your mind. Do you want a free meal? Do you want a free airline ticket? Do you want just an apology? Do you want them to change the service? So if you specifically tell them exactly what you would like, then that way they know what you're looking for.
I was in a store recently at the checkout buying something, and the woman had to put me on hold at the checkout because she had to take a call. And apparently one of those tags, those sensor tags, was left on an article of clothing. And the woman was calling, complaining about this. But you're right, she didn't know what she wanted. And so from my end, I heard the cashier saying, well, what would you like me to do? I mean, you need to get the clothing to me. I can't bring this machine to your home to get it off. Yeah. I'm sorry, it shouldn't have been left on. But and so she was up for making the complaint, but not for
exactly
what do you want me to do.
She should have had her strategies in mind and said maybe FedEx can pick it up and then bring it back to me. You know, my students have done a lot of projects.
I want to ask you about this because you're teaching your Duquesne students how to complain the right way. There's some research going on.
Right, and I've collected over 100 different letters of complaints from my students, and typically they're restaurants or airlines, things that students would be involved with. And about half of them are actually receiving a response, which is very, very high. And 2/3 of them, so it's about 1 out of every 3 letters sent, is actually receiving something in return. A voucher, a gift certificate, replacement of the product, free airline tickets.
Wow.
So it seems to be a very valuable source of getting what you want. Because companies are listening and they are responding, and usually quickly, within a week or 2, they're doing that.
And going back to the very first thing you said, because I think a lot of us here in Pittsburgh, we're nice people. We feel like I don't want to bother them. Even if we're upset, a lot of times I don't really want to bother them with this. But again, to make it clear, companies want this and welcome this. They look for constructive criticism.
That's why they have complaint cards or comment cards wherever you go, in a hotel, in a restaurant. and they really want to know if you're not satisfied, please tell them. I was at a restaurant traveling with some students a few weeks ago, and the service was a bit slow, so I called the manager over, and I, I didn't really expect anything other than we wanted our French fries and our hamburgers as quick as possible because we had to get back to the conference.
Yeah.
He said, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it, and the whole meal was free. And there was 4 of us, it was probably $80, and it was a Hilton, and it was very excellent service. And I thought to myself and told my students, see, customer service, and if you complain, and you complain right, and not really just in a polite, professional way, and just suggesting, hey, we would like our food.
But they care about their image.
They absolutely care. Customer service is always #1. You hear the wonderful stories of Nordstrom's and returning all of these tires. They don't sell tires. Returning this little old lady's shirts from her dead husband from 30 years ago. And so that's why they've achieved that excellent customer service. And companies all want to do that because they know that's the bottom line, keeping their customers satisfied. You don't want to be like the Rolling Stones and I can't get no satisfaction.
You want to go the other way. That's
absolutely.
Right. Audrey, thanks so much for coming in today. Great information for our viewers. I appreciate that. All right, now coming up later.